Hi everyone, it's Mr. Hamilton here. This video is all about paying yourself in retirement. You have a bunch of money set aside and now you're going to live off that money after retiring. If you haven't already seen my last video about how to save for retirement, check that out in the link in the description. All right, so you've saved a bunch of retirement money. You finally retire. How do you live with that? How do you make that money work for you and last as long as possible? You don't just take it all out right away. You keep it invested and take out little by little. So let's talk about how that works. So you live off it by making regular payments now to yourself. So we're going to talk again about an annuity, but an annuity that pays yourself rather than paying like a bank or something like that. So how much will these regular payments to yourself be? Well, it all depends. It all depends on your income before retiring. It depends if you paid off your mortgage, because if you haven't, you have a lot of money still in your budget. But if you have paid off your mortgage, your housing payment is almost totally covered. You just have taxes and things like that on your house. It also depends on how much money you have. If you don't have a lot of money, you can't afford to take out a lot every month. Most investors, though, will recommend making sure that you have enough money to live to around 95. Most people have passed away by 95, and so that ensures that you won't run out of money during your lifetime. If you do live past 95, there's other things that can help out, like Canadian pension plan and things like that. So here's the question we're going to consider. What monthly regular payment will you be able to pay to yourself if you have $1,404,396.08? That's from the last video, how we saved up $300 a month from the age 25 to 65. We got that amount. Now we're living off of that. So we have that much money at age 65, and we want the money to last until age 95. Assume a more stable investment now that pays 6% per annum compounded monthly. You don't want risky investments now. So when you're saving for a future amount over the long term, you can generally take riskier investments that are going to go up and down more. But now that we're trying to live off that money, we're going to have a less risky investment that's going to just pay a little bit less interest, but it's going to ensure that we don't have a lot of volatility in our investment. So it's now a present value equation where we have $1.4 million is the amount of money we have now, and then this is going to become zero by the time we're age 95. And so the present value is that. The end value is the number of compounding periods. We have 30 years and 12 compounding periods per year. Multiply those together, we get 360. The I value now is changed from what it was before in the last video, again, because we have a less risky investment. So it's 0.06 or 6% divided by 12, which gives me 0.005. And we're trying to find the regular payment amount. How much am I paying myself now? So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the present value equation. That's the equation here. And I've taken the liberty of already doing the first step of rearranging as well. What we have to do is the present value is r times 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative n. And so that's like 1 over 1 plus I, that's the negative means, divided by I. And so if we put a negative in our calculator, it'll recognize that and calculate it properly. To rearrange this for r, we need to multiply both sides by I so that it will cancel. So there's the I there and there's the I on the other side. And then we divide both sides of the equation by 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative n. And that's going to cancel on the right side so that we have that on the left side. So it's going to cancel there. The i's on the right side are going to cancel. The square brackets are going to cancel. And then we're left with the r value is the I times the present value divided by what's in the square bracket. So now we can go ahead and sub numbers into that. What we get here by subbing the numbers in is the following. We can simplify the numerator and denominator if we want, but regardless, if you take that next step or not, you end up getting $8,420.06. So what does that mean? It means that therefore you would be able to pay yourself $8,420.06 per month if you were to run out of money at age 95. And so this seems like a lot of money, but remember that over the next 40 years, if you're 25 watching this video, over the next 40 years, money gets to be less and less valuable. And that's because of what we call inflation. And so think about your grandparents when they bought a loaf of bread. They might have paid 5 cents for a loaf of bread, but you go to the grocery store now and you pay several dollars for a loaf of bread. And so that's inflation happening, and that happens on every little thing from gas to every grocery item we buy to every clothing item to buy to vehicles. Everything inflates over time. And so that means that $8,400 today seems like a lot, but it might not seem as much in the future. Nonetheless, that should be plenty to live off of in the future, especially if you have other things to factor in like Canadian pension plan and things like that. So that's a good amount to have every month when you go to retire. So let's graphically examine this a little bit. This is on the vertical axis, the amount of money that you have in this account. And then on the horizontal axis, it's the time in months. So we're going all the way until we get 30 years in where you're 95. So this is going to be 30 times 12 months or 360 months on the x-axis. And then on the y-axis, you can see we start at that approximately $1.4 million. Then over time, it becomes less and less. And the reason this isn't a straight line is because you have interest that's accruing. So the money that you take out right away, you don't get much interest on that money you take out after a month. But the money that you take off further down, you're getting more and more interest on that money. So overall, the whole money is growing a little bit that's still in the account and causes this to be a curved line over time. Let's look at that more specifically with the following graph. What this graph is showing is it's showing that each payment you make to yourself and how the amount from the principal versus the interest amount compares. So what I mean by that is this. We've got the amount of money here. If you add the red line and you add the yellow line, if you add those up, you're going to always get that regular payment that we're making to ourselves, that amount. But we can see that the money we take out initially is almost all principal money. It's the money that I've put in the account. But as you get further and further into the investment, you can see that by the time you're halfway through, more than, like right in here, more than half the money that you're taking out of the account is interest that's been gained on that money you've put in, which is awesome, right? Because it makes your money go further by getting that interest. And so by the time you're finally towards the end, you're taking out money from your account, again, that same regular payment amount, that hasn't changed, but almost all of it, or I would say like 80% of it, is interest that you've accrued, and only a little bit is the money that you actually put in the first place. And so that's a really valuable thing to know and be aware of so that you can use this for your benefit when you go to retire. Remember to like and subscribe. There are lots of other videos coming soon, and hit that bell button for those notifications. Thanks so much.